because the idea that a composition can feel right or can feel wrong is very hard to define. Where is that line that says you can go this far but no further? How's it? Today we're talking about photography's problem child. No, it's not Canon versus Nikon or any of that kind of stuff. It is composition. Composition in photography has the capacity to frustrate, confound, annoy, just cause endless arguments between photographers. And I wanted to get to the heart of why this would be. And something happened yesterday that I think unlocked a way of discovering this. But first, a very quick word from today's fantastic sponsors of our video. It is PicDrop. PicDrop is an online sharing and proofing solution for professional and amateur photographers alike. Its ease of use makes it an absolute no-brainer when wanting to share images for proofing with clients. All you do is upload the photographs, share a link, and your clients can look at the images, make notes, share their revisions, and give you feedback straight away, eliminating all of the old back and forth with emails. Be sure to get your free trial of PicDrop by clicking in the link in the description box below. So composition in photography feels like it's that thing that's really, really helpful. It's amazingly helpful, but it's immensely frustrating and causes massive amounts of argument. And what happened yesterday, I was chatting with a couple of photographers who have been part of my forum, the cohort recently has been running, and we were discussing composition, specifically how my composition recently, certainly with my iPhone photography, has somewhat shifted away from what it used to be. It's become a lot more visceral, kind of like just on the spur of the moment. I don't really think about it too much, and I'm just been going with what feels natural. So when we were talking about this, I said, yeah, I don't really worry about the rules. I just photograph as feels okay for me. Now, the guy who I was talking with, he was like, oh, but hang on, the great portrait painters and the landscape painters have hundreds of years, have spent all this time developing systems to make photographs, or their paintings rather, feel balanced, feel harmonious. And that's true. That is an absolutely fine point. He says, just very carefully putting the mug down before I throw it on the floor. And what I have here is a book called Photographic Composition by Tom Grill and Mark Scanlon. And in here, I've bookmarked something. And they say composition is control. And I think this is like the heart of the issue with composition, is that photography, certainly for me, feels like a very almost arbitrary thing. Whereas with a painter or sculpture or something, I think there's a physical in being in control of something, creating something from chaos. Whereas photographers, we kind of it feels we sort of left to our own devices. Like you can't hold light. You can't do these things. You can't manipulate it in a very specific way. Well, I mean, you can, but but for the most part, we are at the mercy of the elements that get thrown at us, and we have to conjure up a photograph from that. So the idea of composition as control, I think it's comforting, isn't it? That there's a set of rules that we can bring order to chaos. And that's exactly what they're talking about. Is composition is control. The composition of a photograph is the means a photographer has at their disposal to direct another person toward or through the idea that motivated the photograph in the first place. Okay, so that's, that kind of feels, again, it feels comforting, doesn't it? However, then they throw us a bit of a curveball here. Studies have shown what visual thinkers know intuitively. Think about that, visual thinkers. The gazes of viewers follow controllable paths in looking at paintings or photographs. The skilled artist knows exactly how to shepherd the viewer's gaze across the work. He places lines, shapes, colors where they will attract and lead the eye in a predictable fashion. So what I'm kind of reading from that and thinking, like, as somebody maybe who's sort of new to photography, like when I was, like a student, that you go, okay, so there's a set of rules that I can follow that will help me learn about composition, about how to make a pleasing photograph, how to be in control of the viewer as well. That sounds like a really nice thing. Like, we're going to control the viewer's gaze through a photograph. And I don't remember specifically learning about compositional tips and rules and what have you. To be honest, I don't think it really ever went much further than sort of framing and rules of thirds. I certainly never much beyond that, not the golden ratios or all this kind of stuff. It was more the sort of videos that we talk about, like when we talk about sort of Stephen Curry, there's sort of central framing and things of that nature. And as useful as those are, and as positive as those rules are, and I think this is where the chap I was talking with last night says, the painters and all these guys, they got all these amazing rules that have been built up mathematically over centuries. We should follow those rather than striking out and just doing our own thing. And I think that's where a bit of confusion comes in. The rules are useful. But the problem with a lot of these things, certainly the way that I was taught them, is that it's like a lot of things. You sort of say, well, you must have it on a third, and you must do this, and you must do that, and have this kind of weird spiral because it leads the line around, but never really touches upon the why, or going beyond into just composing the image through gut feeling. Most people, when polled recently, I did that poll, asking about problems in composition and struggles, most people, when asked how they compose an image, said that they compose intuitively. Okay, so intuitively just said, from the gut. But at the same token, people saying, I want to struggle with all the rules. And I think this is where photography has it. This is why composition is a problem child, because you have all the rules, and you feel that you must follow them all the time because everything else is like unright or wrong, for want of a better word, right? And I find that a difficult thing to deal with, because the idea that a composition can feel right or can feel wrong is very hard to define. Where is that line that says you can go this far, but no further? That's why composition is so tricky to get hold of. And I think this is why so many people feel comfortable staying within the rules and get frustrated by those of us who kind of fly by the seat of our pants, as it were. And equally, we get frustrated because the people who are like in with the rules are going, but we're just like, but if you step outside of them a bit, if you bend the rules a bit, you're going to bring a lot more soul into your photographs. This is what I want to encourage people with composition, is to understand not just the ideas, rule of thirds and repetition and patterns and that kind of stuff, but why things do. Why does a line that goes straight up and down in your photograph create a sense of stability, of solidness, right? But why? And then why does a line that moves in a diagonal feel like it's dynamic? That's a very simple way of going beyond the how and then into the why you compose an image in a certain way, why you use these lines. And once you start building up these ideas, once you dig into composition and look beyond these simple rules of thirds, and some of the guys in the cohort are doing amazing stuff by exploring I think it's like the extremes of composition, and I totally forget what it's called. It's like a whole framework that they put up there. If I remember, I'll put it in the description or on the notes on screen. But that's fascinating. So throughout this, please don't think that I'm like there's one way of composition that's right or the other, but you can see where the seed for all this argument and confusion is thrown, or is sown rather. I'm going to throw my seed. I'm going to throw the seeds. The seeds will be sown, and then we sow it, right? It's so many like photography. It's like photography encapsulated. We have the science, the maths, the formula side of things, and then that creativity, that doing your own thing, going beyond it. And you can understand now why so many photographers, especially when they are new to photography and just got a handle on getting composition, look at many famous photographs and go, but the horizon's wonky, or this, or there's no real where's the composition here? Why is this a good photograph if the composition is not correct, if it's not going by lines? And what they're failing to realize is, or what they haven't yet discovered, is that it's a gut feeling. You know instinctively after you've looked at the rules and all the the formulas and things like that, when a photograph feels off. And I think that's an important aspect here. It's in composition. When certainly me, I'm not looking to create a great composition. I'm looking to take a photograph, and does that image feel off? Does it feel a bit weird? Does it feel a bit unbalanced? Does it feel like it's not quite right? I think that's a lot easier way of looking at composition and fixing things, as opposed to, looking at a landscape and spending time creating and teasing out the perfect composition. I mean, the guys who do this in landscape photography, hats off to them. I don't have the patience for that. I mean, I used to, but these days I'm a little bit more kind of let's go, right? And so I think that's amazing. Now, composition it's our friend, right? It is, but it's a frustrating. It's an annoying thing sometimes, but ultimately it is something we need to pay attention to in our photographs on any level that you feel comfortable with, just so long as you understand why you're doing it. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. If you love about composition, the patterns and stuff I was talking about, check out Steve McCurry's video over here. It's fantastic stuff. It was just really sort of great. Thank you ever so much for watching. The cohort starts on this coming Wednesday. So if you're watching this over the weekend, it's still time to join. Lovely to see you. I will see you again soon.